Right now, let's talk to Alp Mehmet, who's from Migration Watch, of course, because there's a story doing the rounds this morning that the migration problem we have in this country could actually mean by 2046 there could be another 16 million people living here. I know that sounds like a long way off, but we're basically adding, every 5 years, we're adding something like 3 to 4 million people. I think in the last 10 years we've had an extra 7 million people basically joining the population, most of them coming here as immigrants. 0344 499 1000. Let's find out what Alp's got to say about that. Alp, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. This is a rather large figure, isn't it, this 16 million figure? And this is your own think tank, Migration Watch, that's come up with this particular figure. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, it is a large figure, but that's where we are. That's the reality. The net migration of 606,000, which in fact could have been a lot higher had the government used the previous methodology for calculating it. But 606,000 is massive. And what we've done is looked to see what that means for population growth. And the numbers that it's going to grow by in the next 25 years, the population is going to grow by, frankly, it's the lowest that it would grow if we were to continue at the present rate. We also looked at what that means for housing, for example. If, again, we continue with this rate of net migration, we're going to need many, many more houses than we are building at the moment. We're going to be running to fall steadily behind with regard to housing. If the government thinks that we are somehow going to go back to net migration of 245,000 in the medium term, as they put it, over the next 5 years, they're in dreamland.
Yeah.
They're absolutely fantasizing. There is absolutely no way with the present system that we've got in place that we would fall back to those sort of numbers. The likelihood is that we will continue at this very high, and 245,000, frankly, is not small. That too is way too high. But to continue at 500,000 a year is going to be so damaging in all sorts of ways. And housing is one of the areas where we will never build enough houses to meet demand at these sort of rates.
Well, we haven't got enough houses now. And I mean, one of the lines in the report says you need 18 Birmingham-sized cities, basically, to build in order to house everybody.
Yeah, sure. Well, depending on which, what's called the total fertility rate is used, depending on that, we calculate something between 15 and 18 new Birminghams. But let's just look at 15 Birminghams, what that means, the number of people that you've got to provide for, not just housing, but the NHS, schools, road congestion, you name it, and it's impacted by this sort of gargantuan increase in population that is driven by migration.
Yeah.
That's why we've got to do something about it.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, today we've got news, terrible news coming in from France. I don't know if you've seen it, Alp, of 6 nursery school aged children around about 3 years of age having been stabbed randomly by what looks like a Syrian refugee. We don't know exactly what the circumstances of his status is. I presume it's a he. He attacked the children, some in pushchairs, as they visited a park in southeast France, a place called Annecy. This, I was talking to Isabel Oakeshott, this highlights the problem that we have with an awful lot of the people who are coming. We don't know really anything about them. We have no clue where they've come from. We have no clue what they've done, whether they've got mental health issues, whether they've got criminal records. We just don't know.
Well, that's an exceptionally good point, Mike, if I may say so. I hadn't heard that news yet. That it's just shocking, isn't it?
It's awful.
When you think of kiddies defenceless being attacked in that way, it just makes me want to weep, frankly. But what we're talking about today is legal migration. the fact is that with illegal migration, which is also a huge problem, we don't know who we are bringing into the country, who we're allowing into the country. And that, to me, seems like madness, frankly, that here we are simply because people say, I am whoever and I am fleeing persecution, let me in. We say, well, we can't prove it, but okay, because we can't disprove it. Yeah. You can come in. And anyone and everyone who seeks to get in that way is being allowed in. That is madness. Yeah. And it certainly doesn't serve the interests of people in this country, and it seems in France as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely dreadful. Terrible, terrible story. But listen, Alp, thanks very much indeed. Alp Mehmet there with the latest on projections from Migration Watch of how many people will be coming here in the due course of the next 10 years or 20 years. 16 million by 2046 is what they estimate. And at which point they will have to build more cities actually to house everybody in.